Hey everyone, just a quick heads up. We had a little hiccup with the audio during the first few minutes of this episode, but don't worry, it clears up right after that. Thanks for sticking with us and enjoy the show. Hello, welcome back to Court Reporter Confidential. I'm your host, Stephanie Leslie, and we have a very exciting episode today. I'm here with Natalie Ruben, brand new CSR, and we're going to be chatting about her journey up until this point, what it's been like as a new reporter, and also her 21,000 followers on TikTok and her social media journey so far. So I'm really excited. I wanted to talk about what it's really like to learn steno, because you're a machine writer, how you passed your qualifying exams, stepping out into the field for the very first time. And I understand, so you're not only a California CSR, but you also got your Washington license as well. Very cool. And an RSR, which I believe through the national system, right?
Yes.
And you've been on the job less than 2 months, so you have a great fresh perspective, and I'm really looking forward to speaking with you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So first, let's talk about, you've only been out in the field, what, less than 2 months, is it right?
Less than 2 months.
Okay. What has surprised you the most so far, if anything? Or is it just like you imagined in your dreams?
I definitely wasn't expecting it to be such a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Every single job I take, I feel like there's something that I learned from.
Yeah.
And that's especially when having mentors is really important, because every time after a job I'm calling, would you have done this differently? How would you format this? What parenthetical should I use? So every single job, I'm like, this might be the job where I go and I know I did it all right. And there's still something, still working it out, little fine kinks.
Absolutely. It took me a long time. I mean, over a year maybe until I didn't see something new.
Yeah, and I remind myself, like, we obviously didn't make it through court reporting programs and licensing by not being perfectionists. So of course I'm naturally really hard on myself, and I expect perfection, and it's natural to have these learning experiences and grow from them. And it's really hard because some days I feel like, wow, I was really rough that day, and then the next day I feel like I rocked it, and it's still an emotional roller coaster like school.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, 21 years in, I still have those days where I'm like, how are they paying me for this? This is so easy. And then other days I'm like a brand new reporter. What's my problem? I don't know what's going on with me. So it's totally normal. And obviously there's harder speakers and harder situations, no matter how much experience you have. So don't be so hard on yourself. But I am impressed just from that little snippet you just gave us already, that you're asking all the right questions, and you have resources and you're using your resources. You're not just winging it and guessing. All of those things are huge. And I can tell sometimes a new reporter or a student by the questions they ask, their instincts, like, you know what, like you're on the right track, but you're like, well, is it this or this? But you kind of have an idea of probably what it is. Right. That's so important.
Right, and I know what I need to do to produce a quality product, but naturally there's some road bumps along the way. But all these mistakes, they're learning mistakes.
Totally.
And, you know, maybe I should have formatted something a little different, or phrased something different, or, you know, look at more resources that are available. So it's just part of the journey. So definitely I'm looking forward to the next year, and I'm hoping I look back at this month and be like, wow, I did a great job, but I just was really tough on myself, which comes with the territory.
No, and you should not be. I mean, you're already taking so much work, right? How many days a week are you working?
I am at least on the record 3 days a week, if not 4.
Wow.
I was on 5 days 1 week. It was tough, but I came through. I managed my time. I turned in the final job from that 5th day yesterday morning. So we came
Congratulations.
through. Thank you. And you know, I love to jump right in. I feel like I have the right tools to handle it, and thankfully I have the resources to rely on as well.
Well, you mentioned time management. Has that been a big adjustment for you? Because that's, you know, when you take a test, what is it, 12 pages, 10 pages? So to know how long does it take me to do a 100-page transcript, I have no idea. So So it is important, right, not to take on too much
Right.
until you're ready, although you're taking on a lot, but you're handling it, so that's fine. Any other adjustments, like real world adjustments that you, or if you want to expand more on the time management?
Well, time management, yes, but in terms of just the adjustment, people, it is so much different than a testing environment. And I'm trying for my RPR, so I listened back at those dictations, and it is so different than the real world. Some days I'm putting in punctuation and colons because there's so much time, and the other days I'm like, stop, hold, wait, I didn't get repeat, okay, and we're going 250, 300 words per minute, and you're like, holy smokes. And there's audibility issues, and you're in a courtroom and you don't know the acoustics in the courtroom, and you're having trouble hearing, and you need to ask, I need the handheld listening device, counsel, I need you to restate that. And then the depositions, like, you go in, you don't know what to expect, and you're at a new law firm, and there's just so many unknowns, like anything from where am I going to park today to how am I going to get to the law firm to, okay, I need to make sure the deponent doesn't walk out with the exhibits after the depo. Like, there's every day I'm like, okay, add that to the checklist, remind the deponent, hand me the exhibits at the end. Like, there's just so much that you don't even learn with school and interning until it happens to you on the job.
And someone could have taught it to you, but until you really have to experience it,
and then it sticks.
Yes, out of necessity, right? Yes. Now, wait, did you just mention court? Are you doing court as well?
I have taken a couple hearings. I will say I was not expecting. I did a lot of criminal court interning when I was in school.
Oh, okay.
I really thought I was going to want to full time with the courts. I changed courses, and they said, "Hey, we have a civil hearing. Can you cover it?" And I was like, "I've done 200 hours of court.
Whoa,
I can do it." Civil court was so different than anything I experienced at criminal court. So I've done a couple court proceedings, and it is so different. It's different from a depo. It's learning on the job, and at the end of the day, I know my job: get down the words, get them verbatim, get it accurate, and what I need to do to make that happen in any situation.
Mm-hmm. And then you figure out the rest later.
Yeah, and then I call. What parenthetical should I put here?
Mm-hmm. Just wait till you get your first appeal. You might rethink your decisions. Oh my goodness. So the adjustment, yes. So I kind of jumped the gun here, but you're a freelance reporter. You're not an official. So that means that can take you anywhere, right?
Yes.
Court, depots, arbitrations, hearings, whatever. Yeah. And I am as well. Although I'm on a trial right now, which is kind of fun. So I do like seeing the same people and having the same dictionary every day. And I already know where to park.
Yes.
I know where the Starbucks is, right?
Yep.
But yeah, that's the pros and cons with freelance. What's great is if you hate the people you're working with, you're not stuck. You have a whole different gang tomorrow.
Yep.
But if you love them, you're like, oh, I wish I could work with you all day long.
Yes. And I'll communicate with the agency I work with on that job. Hey, I had a great depo with them. Please, if they have any more jobs, I would love to work on that.
Smart.
And there's rough ones, and I'm like, okay, but now I know what to do next time when those parties are at the deposition, and how I'm connecting with them and communicating my needs to make it happen. I'm like, okay, I made that mistake once. I'm going to speak up for myself better the next time. I'm going to ask for the breaks ahead of time. So it's just, finding my groove. Honestly, that's been a huge learning curve.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is a groove. It really is. And it's a little bit of a wild ride, because sometimes it's crazy fast, or fast meaning unpredictable, right?
Yes.
You have the 5 jobs and you're like, oh no. But then you'll hit a lull, and yeah. You got to have a right personality to be able to ride those waves out.
Right. And you never know where you're going to go. Like this week, I was all remote. Last week, I'm all in San Francisco. Next week, I'm south of the peninsula and, all over the south of the bay. So you just never know. But I like the freedom to go and check things out in my area and
it's fun, huh?
See new people, new places.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about nerves? How nervous were you on that first job? Were you shaking, swearing in the witness like I was?
It was ridiculous how nervous I was. And before I was reporting in California, I was taking remote depositions out of Washington State.
Okay.
So I was like, this is going to be even better than any deposition I've ever taken. I'm in person. I got the license under me, and I'm sitting in this seat, and it's like a one-off conference room. Like, it's in a basement. I don't know, like, I'm like, okay. Sitting there, the videographer is getting set up. There's a videographer in training. I'm like, okay, feeling a little bit more nervous. And it just all came to me, and I started writing those first words, and it's like I never touched a steno machine in my life. And I think just the nerves of like, this is it. Like, this is everything I worked for, and it's here and it's happening, but it's also now all on me. All of these rules, all of these responsibilities that I have.
Yeah.
I need to be on my best, on the game. And it really got to me. That depo it was a rough one. It was rough, but I was able to read back when I needed to. I interrupted when I needed to, got it done. But I thought I was going to go in and rock it and take off from there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Little humble pie.
But I will say the next day I had a lovely, lovely, lovely deposition. Beautiful speed. Oh, wonderful real time. Easiest to scope one yet. And I was like, okay. So it comes in waves. One day I'm humbled. One day I feel like I'm a rock star.
Yeah. It will never stop. Until I'm, a speed champion or something, and I really know I can handle anything. What about confidence walking into the depo? Do you feel like you're faking it, like a little imposter syndrome, or do you?
I really feel the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And
it's real.
It's real. I put on my power suit. I have my good old reliable blazer, my pumps, and like, okay. And I go in, I get set up, and then, it's time to start interacting. And I'm still kind of figuring out like how I'm interacting with the parties and touching base and getting their information and, communicating. And, I'm still trying to figure out me as Madam Court Reporter, Natalie Ruben. And it's been an adjustment, and I'm sitting there and it's settling in, and some days I'm like, wow, like, am I qualified? And the imposter syndrome is super real.
Yeah. I remember that too. I bought a clearance suit because I didn't have much, and I wore it, day after day, because who knows, nobody knows you're wearing the same clothes.
Exactly.
It's fine. Just pretended. I was like, I walked in. Yeah. I think I've probably said this before on the podcast, but I walked into my first depo and I was like, I'm going to look confident, because I looked like I was 12, PS. And so I walk in looking like I'm confident, I'm going to fake it to everybody. And the receptionist at the law firm was a student at my court reporting school and says, you're brand new. And I said, shh.
Yes, I was saying I was like,
anybody.
I'm not telling anybody. This is my,
No, they're going to think I've been doing this for 3 years, 5 years, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, she totally called me out. I was like, shut up. Don't say anything.
Well, that second depo that brought my confidence up at the end, the attorneys were like, thank you so much, Madam Reporter. Really appreciate it. And I was like, well, thank you guys. Like, this was my second deposition. So, like, I really appreciate your guys' help in helping me make the record. Like, we would have never known.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, awesome. But I go in and I'm like, and I have my depo book. I have my coffee tumbler, water tumbler, big laptop, machine. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And, and I try to give out that energy of, okay, I'm ready, I'm a professional, let's work together, let's do this.
Well, you're prepared, right?
I'm prepared.
You've done all the right things. You've written in your depo book the night before or the morning of, maybe.
I'm like, okay, my chicken scratch. I'm like, okay, what I kind of changed it to how I want it to be, and I'm like, okay.
It's so important though, just looking over the depo notice, just getting familiar with those names.
Yes.
Anything you can prepare, that gives you so much confidence, right?
Yeah. Well, I started I think I just made a TikTok about this. I do primarily videographer jobs, and now I'm starting to learn what they read on consistently every time. So I'll take the notice and I make briefs for the case caption, the case number, the deponent's full name, the attorney's law firms, the attorney's names. So that first page that normally is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a little bit better, and it gets a little bit better the more I'm getting into my dictionary to, really clean it up. It helps the confidence on that first page.
Oh, 100%. And I loved when I figured out how to brief names.
Yes.
Like, not just briefing it the official way, but then, if there's a nickname, or if it's just the first name or just the second name. And so I'm entering it a million different ways.
Yes.
Or the attorneys, like if it's Thomas, I'm like, oh, he might go by Tom, and then my brief's not going to work, you know?
Yes.
All those little things that just help you get off on the right foot, right?
100%.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
One less thing to global later.
Oh, seriously. Less scoping, less time of homework. So let's talk about your journey to this point, your certification, your schooling situation. So first, I don't know if you want to give a shout out to your school, or what was your schooling process? Was it all online?
So I went to college in Marin.
Oh, cool.
It's a community college up in Northern California, but I did it synchronously through Zoom.
Okay.
So everything
Meaning live classes.
Live classes.
Okay.
You had to attend live. There was a role, like an attendance call. And we had our set schedule, and it was a great program. I initially started with theory with West Valley, and then ultimately transitioned fully over to Marin. For scheduling, I liked their classes. I wrote better in the early morning. I wanted the early morning class, and I fully transitioned over. So when I found court reporting, I was managing at Chili's.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to do this long term.
Right.
And I was in my last semester of my bachelor's degree, and I was like, I have no idea what I want to do with my life. And I was a language major for my bachelor's. I was German language, so I was pretty good with picking up language. And I looked up county jobs near me, and court reporter came up. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. And I looked it up, and 2 weeks later, I was on Facebook Marketplace down in another neighborhood picking up a Stentura 400, and I was in theory classes.
Wow.
And I ultimately self-studied the theory because I wanted to work ahead from what my class was at. So I went ahead, finished theory in the summer, and went straight into speed building in the fall of 2023. And then from there, I got into qualifiers, I believe 2024 in maybe February or March. And then I spent...
help us do the math.
Oh my gosh, 7 months, 8 months. Or do I have the math right? I was definitely in No, I don't have the math right.
Or just from start to finish.
I started in June 2023, qualified on Valentine's Day of 2025, this year. So 19 months.
Okay, wow.
So I got...
Less than 2 years?
Less than 2 years. And it was definitely tough. I treated it as a full-time job. But I went to class from 8 in the morning till 8 at night.
Seriously?
In the beginning.
So this is no accident.
You
were pedal to the metal, dedicated.
I was ready. And since I think it helped being able to learn the language quickly, and I ultimately kind of made it into my own language with things that didn't work. I kind of made it my own. And then with speed building, I had instructors that really pushed me. They really pushed me. If I was in 80 words a minute, and I went to the 140 class. And if nobody wanted to read back, I was like, I can try. And they said, okay. And they helped me along the way. I was botching it, but they're like, you want to try to read back 140? We'll help you.
Wow.
And it was instructors like that, or they would call me out on my errors too. I would, my first speed building class, I was reading back, and my instructor was like, you're not reading back from your notes, are you? And I was like, no. And he goes, I could tell you need to read back from your notes. And I couldn't. I couldn't read my notes.
The steno.
My actual steno notes.
Not the real-time screen.
Yeah. He goes, you need to read from your steno notes. And I looked, and I was like, and he goes, that's what I'm telling you. You need to be able to do that. And from then on out, that was my 4th day of speed building, looking at my steno notes. And it really, that's the same instructor that I qualified with, and I swear up and down is why I passed the CSR on my first try, because his qualifiers were so challenging and they prepared you so well.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to the steno notes, because it's so rare now that we use real time and we use the translation, and we don't have the paper notes hardly at all anymore. So what do you attribute that to? Do you think it's because you could see your shadowing? You could see, like, I'm trying to even remember. It's been so long for me, but.
So, well, with reading back notes as a student, I think it helped so you could later see your errors. So I knew what the outline should have looked like. And then as I started to stack more and more and more, or I would drop and seeing where my issues were coming from or what kind of strokes were messing me up. So it really helped me nail down my writing and possibly what messed me up to make me drop the next word. So
you were looking for patterns.
I was looking
You were
for
studying
patterns.
it.
I was looking, and ultimately it got to a point where I was reading both. Like, okay, I know I stroked ladies and gentlemen of the jury correctly. I don't, okay, next. But I was able to go through and build, like, I might do, my answer bank and my initial S. And what I meant to do maybe is like the final S on the question and then the answer bank. And I defined it that way. So I was figuring out all these stacks and how to clean it up. So when I got to the test, I had as little possibility for error.
Smart. Yes. So you did all the work in advance. I mean, so you're going to do the work at some point, right?
Yes.
You either have to clean up your junk later.
Yep.
Or you can clean it up as you go
Yes.
and global those things. Yeah. That's excellent.
I learned that through going to the conventions, and I believe it was Anissa Nuremberger's class.
I hired her to clean up my real time. It was amazing.
She defined it all. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, and it might have been circumstantial that I stroked it like that, but, if that happens on the real test, that's such an easy point to lose. That's such an easy thing to oversee. Why would I want to lose a point when I could just define it and not have that issue later? And it has really helped going forward. And I'm now dealing with a friend of mine is like, why don't you write do you in one stroke?
I don't.
Oh, no, I write did you. Why don't you do did you in one stroke? I've done do you know, do you have, do you recall? I've always done that. I never did it with did.
Ah, okay.
Don't know why. Every job I sent to my proofreader, every time there's a you missing. Did you go? Did you get? Did you have? She goes, you just need to write did you in one stroke and you'll never have to keep upsetting your proofreader because she's filling in this you. So it's just, constantly making adjustments because it helps me, it helps my proofreader. And I've been doing it now for the past week and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, this is the beauty of it, of reporting in general. I love the figuring out how to make your writing better.
Yeah.
I'm still doing that. I still have so long to go. And I could do it more on my own in my free time, but I don't. But on the job, trying to figure out, this word is coming up so much. How am I going to, okay, the one that's killing me is recycle. And you think I would have figured it out after the real-time competition a year and a half ago that I totally botched because I did not have a brief for recycle. I was writing it out and there were recyclables, recycling, and I'm like, oh, forget this. But now I'm in a trial that involves recycling, and I'm like, see, you got to do the work at some point.
What I was actually going to make a video about that because every word that bugs you, it's going to come up, and then it's going to come up on the job the next day.
Yeah.
I had engineer kept coming up on Tuesday, and I was like, I need to make a brief for it. And then thankfully the next day, the next job, we're talking about engineers again. You got to do it at some point, or it's gonna come up again.
Yeah, especially those that just drive you crazy because they're still so hard. If it doesn't come naturally to you at first, it's never going to, and you might as well just deal with it and figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so good. So were there any moments in school that you thought about quitting? Did you hit walls? I mean, obviously you had a quick journey, but doesn't mean you didn't have any struggles.
I had moments of huge frustration. I don't think I ever had a moment where I wanted to quit. I knew this is what I wanted to do, but I had moments where it really felt like, is it ever going to happen? But what I did is I changed what I was doing. So my first wall was in 120, and it's humbling because I did, I got to 120 in 4 or 5 months. So I'm like, okay, I'm on top of the world. I got this. And then I'm at 120 and I'm like, okay. So I actually interned with a court reporter in Sacramento County. Her name's Val. And I showed up and I sat down and she goes, what speed are you at? I go 120. And she goes, this might blow your hair back a little bit, but let's go. And I was like, okay. And people are telling me, I don't know if I would have recommended a 120 student sitting in court.
No, I don't think I would.
Yeah. She was like, let's go. And it was that moment. And she was kind of watching my writing and she's like, yeah, you got to shorten your writing up. That's when I started doing do you know? Do you have? And I bought the Mark Kislingbury Magnum book. I started going through it. She's like, you got to shorten it. And after that, it changed my perspective. I was so set in my ways on this is how I learned it. This is how I'm going to write it.
Yeah.
She goes, no, you're not. You can't keep up if you don't. So even though I probably missed 50% of the words in there, I walked away with a whole new mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got stuck at 160. And, I don't even know I think I probably just honestly did lots of interning. And then I got stuck at qualifiers naturally. And I started the San Francisco Superior Court official interning program. And that was amazing. So you do that for 8 weeks. You get compensated.
Whoa.
You get great feedback from reporters. You see all sorts of different stuff. And I went straight into Contra Costa's version of that program. And it was during that program that I ditched school for about 2 months. It was winter break. I was super busy with the internship. Showed up one random Monday, took the test, passed it.
Seriously.
Because I didn't have that much thought in it. Like my whole life was, okay, Monday at 8:15 is qualifiers. My whole life is depending on this 8:15. And I was like, we'll just see. Okay, I haven't been since November. Passed it. I was sitting in court with Lucy Gonzalez, and it was Valentine's Day, and the email came in at 3:00 in her office, and we all stood up and yelled, and her judge came in and was like, did somebody pass something?
Oh, so that was for the actual CSR.
That was for my qualifier.
Oh, for your qualifier, you found out later you passed it.
Yes.
Exciting. Well, let me tell you. So I got married in qualifiers because how do you choose a date? You never know when you're going to be at that point. So you just randomly pick a date. I happen to be in qualifiers at that time. Not going to reschedule my wedding, whatever. So I go on my honeymoon, and before I go, I'm like, I should take my machine. I should practice. I should take my machine. And everybody's like, don't take your machine on your honeymoon. Have you lost your mind? And everyone convinced me, just go, relax, enjoy. This is what it's for, right? I come back, I almost passed. The first one I sat on. Because I was like, la, la, la,
right?
So happy. Give yourself a break. It is so mental.
It is really mental. And I was just putting so much unnecessary pressure on myself. And I think sitting and doing that internship, it was fast. It was hard. We were doing, 80 arraignments in an afternoon. Like, it was fast, but it was great because it made that test
sound like slow as molasses.
Yes. So it was that was super helpful. So I recommend, any student that's stuck, just change what you're doing, whether it's how you're practicing. If you're playing your recording 20% faster than your goal speed, maybe you bring it down 20% below, or, you're on high speeds, go intern at a new court, go meet a new court reporter, change the environment.
It does give you a shot in the arm, huh? The interning. I've never heard of anybody do it that often and that much.
Oh, I love it.
And at that low speeds, but truly, it's so motivating, right?
It is. And I was like, this is great. And it really is what I needed to be like. I got through fast, but I don't know everything. I needed to be humbled and told, I need to change how I'm writing. And it's every day. I mean, someone told me last week, you need to change how you're writing. And it's always going to be like that.
Yeah. I love it. That's what keeps me interesting in those really boring contract cases. I'm like, okay, let's practice. Let's work on my briefs. Let's work on my phrasing, That keeps me engaged for sure.
Same.
You have built an amazing, let's switch to social media, okay? So I have not been a believer in social media forever, just more recently. And it really does impact people. People are looking for content.
Yep.
People are looking for the coolest, latest job, for something they can do. So tell me how it got started for you and what that's been like.
So when I was looking at court reporting, there wasn't really a lot of information about it. Even when I went on the school's website, like they had some information about it, but I'm still kind of trying to envision this. And, I went on YouTube, and even YouTube didn't really have a lot. And then at the time, TikTok was really booming post-COVID. And I looked on TikTok, and that's where I saw a lot of the creators posting their work vlogs or them writing on the machine, doing a test and doing their real time. And I was really able to see it. But what I was seeing at the time was there was really no student content. There was nobody showing, here's what it looks like in this class you're about to sign up for. So I was like, let's do it. So I started my first video of me just getting all my stuff for school, my notebooks and my monitor and my machine. And then I shared my first theory class, and then how I was studying theory, how I was practicing this chapter, how I memorized briefs.
So you started that early when you were in theory. That's
started
cool.
it.
It gives a full perspective because you
It's a
can't
journal.
really make those anymore.
No, it gives, and it helps people. I go through my notifications. I'm still getting interactions with posts from 2023.
Wow.
And then I made posts about how I was practicing. And of course, how I've practiced changed drastically between 80 and 120 and 160 and qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started posting about interning and going to conferences. And that opened up a lot of opportunities as well,
Yeah.
to attend more opportunities. I had reporters in my inbox, hey, if you're ever in the area, come sit with me.
Oh, that's cool. You're already creating a
Yes.
network.
I'm creating a network. I
Mhm.
had, professionals, hey, when I got licensed, can we add you to our calendar?
Mm.
And in school too, there's people asking, where are you going to school? I'm looking to start school. And people, when I posted I'm a CSR now post, people were commenting like, wow, it's amazing. I've been watching you from the beginning. You inspired me to get into
Aw.
school. So I'm happy that my goal of sharing the student experience is actually manifested into students and entering school.
That is so cool. I love that you saw a need and filled it. I didn't even think there would be a need for social media. And when a lot of the originals like Danae and when they started posting, I'm like, what purpose does this serve? Because I'm just a very keep your head down, do your
Mhm.
thing. But I didn't realize like that is so informative. And we were trying to spread the word about court reporting, and
Right.
that ended up being one of the best ways to do it. So I've just recently kind of gotten on the bandwagon and doing some fun things. But anyway, I'm so glad that you started from the beginning and you were able to really document that. How many posts do you do? I don't know, per week, per month?
Depends.
Yeah.
When I was new, I feel like I was posting every other day.
Okay.
But I also had a lot more time. When you're first
Mhm.
in school, you're maybe doing 500 strokes in class, and then it becomes 1,000 and then 10,000. And it started getting a lot and a lot. So now I try to post more now as a new professional to show the transition and give live takes of what I'm experiencing on the
Mm.
job. So I've been posting like once or twice a week, little mix of different things. I'm trying out new things, but I'm just trying to show this is what to be excited for as well.
Yeah. And it can be done. It's attainable because they saw you from the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. How do you balance your authenticity with your social media persona? Or I don't know, even know how to ask the question, but it seems like you can put on a facade, or if you're really genuine, people probably see through it.
People tell me that I have a lot more energy in person. Like in my videos, I come off, I'm like, hey, study buddies, we're going to do this. We're going to talk about real-time coach. And I go like this. And then I go to a convention and I'm like, who wants to we're going to go to the after party. We're going to go this. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to go to the ADM conference. And then who wants to do this? We're going to go do lunch. And people are like, whoa. But I think I'm experimenting. I'm trying to show more of like what I'm doing now. Like I posted a video. I was like, I spent all day at the desk, but I also made time to go to a concert. Like I'm trying to share more of like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. But I definitely try to show, honestly what I'm doing, what I'm going through, what I'm struggling with. I try to share like my notes, my real time. But I try to make a little mix of, apparently I give off a little ASMR calm vibe, but in real life I'm maybe not so low key.
That's so cute. I love that. What is one thing that you wish someone had told you before your first job, for example? Because there are a couple of things. I feel like I mentor people pretty well. And someone the other day told me, I just found out that your mentees don't even know how to name their files. Like that it should be with the date. And I just assumed they knew that. And I forget to tell them. So I'm sure there's a million things that you never really were told because everyone just assumes.
The first one that comes to mind is marking exhibits.
Oh, okay.
So my first job, we're going to mark exhibit 1, hands me the document, and I take it and I put my sticker on it, I mark it, and I put it on my laptop. And the attorney's like, so the court reporter's going to hand you exhibit 1. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then after that, I was like, okay, we're doing this. They don't really learn that. And then my friend went and took her first deposition today. And I'm like, hey, if they hand you an exhibit to mark, you're going to mark it and you're going to hand it to the witness. And she goes, I didn't know that.
Mm.
So I'm trying to spread.
Well, for what it's worth, sometimes they have a totally separate copy for
Right.
the witness. So it's not always that way. But that is interesting. Yeah. We just
Yeah.
assume you know that and
Right.
forget to say it.
Other than that, I feel like everything has just been a lot of like personal choices with maybe like how I want to get appearances and their information.
Just figuring out your way of doing things, right?
Yeah, like figuring out, how do I want to do my name's Natalie Ruben. I'm a California CSR license number. Like, how do I want to do it? All that. And something too that I've started doing as well is kind of introducing myself to the deponent before.
Mhm.
So
That's wise.
the first deposition I did, the deponent never been deposed before, doesn't know what a deposition is. And they're both going well over 200 words a minute. And I'm like, ma'am, like I need the last part of your answer. And she's like, excuse me? And I was like, oh, I need you to repeat your answer. And then during the break, I was like, I'm taking everything down word for word. So I might ask you to repeat something or say it again. She goes, oh, okay, that makes sense. And ever since then, when they come in, hi, good morning, my name's Natalie. I'm the court reporter. So, I might interrupt you. I might ask for something again. I might ask for a spelling. I just don't want to throw you off. And then ever since then,
Nice.
they look at me, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So,
Because truly, they're probably walking into this room. They don't know what your role is as opposed to opposing counsel or
No.
what videographer or whoever. Yeah.
they don't see the machine. They don't,
Right.
who knows? Sometimes, if you ask for clarification, I've had to say a couple times because they might think I'm an attorney. I go, can I clarify what was that acronym you stated? And then they extrapolate.
Yes.
And I say, thank you, but I need verbatim what you said. So
Yes.
just figuring out, okay, how do I want to interrupt next time so it's clear?
That's
what is
actually
the acronym.
That's actually something I tell them if I remember to introduce myself at the
Yes.
beginning. I'll say, I may ask you to repeat something. I don't need you to explain.
Yeah.
I just need the last word. I just missed a very specific word, you know, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you know what else helps? I don't know if you utilize this tool, but someone taught me way at the beginning that if you drop something, if it's helpful, if you're able to read back till the point that you don't have anymore. So if you have a partial sentence, if you say, oh, I was going to the store where?
Yes.
And then they just get right back on track as opposed to like trying to reinvent their whole answer.
Right.
That's helpful.
What I find myself doing, because every time I go back and I'm like, okay, I normally read back the last thing I have and I go, this is the last thing I have, blah, 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 blah. What was the last part? But I'm still figuring out, I'm like, do I love doing that? Because sometimes, maybe you still have the wrong word that you're seeking clarification for. So I'm still figuring out exactly how I want to do it, making it maybe a little quicker. So I'm still experimenting with it, but I'm never afraid to interrupt. I'll say that.
Good for you. I felt like, oh, I should have done a better job. You're second guessing yourself. Like maybe it was my fault that I dropped but we have to be confident that if we pass that test and we were trained, 95% accuracy and 200 words a minute, I'm qualified. So if I didn't get it, that's your fault, not mine.
Right. Yeah. So I'm always really on top of it. And, if I don't understand something that I need for context, I will ask. But I haven't had any situations yet where I'm like, wow, I should have maybe interrupted there. Thankfully, I'm very grateful that so far it's been okay.
Yeah. All it takes is one time for, oh, my audio wasn't there. Well, I will never do that again.
Yep.
Or I should have asked them to slow down, or I should have gotten clarification. What exhibit are you talking about? Like when they're just throwing papers around. I'm like, wait, counsel, I haven't marked it yet. Please let me.
I had that happen. And I don't know why I didn't speak up. That's another thing, the confidence. I'm marking the exhibit and they go on with the question. And then I'm like, why am I letting them do that? Why didn't I interrupt? And then I'm like trying to store it in my brain and I'm marking it and I'm handing it. And I'm like, okay. So then I called my friend after and she goes, no, you need to say something. You're allowed time to mark the exhibit. And I was like, yeah. And then since then I'm like, counsel, 1 second. And she goes, yeah.
Because that's something that in the moment they think they just want to rush and it's going to be faster if they push through. Yeah. And same thing for me recently with the exhibits. They're like, oh, let me just throw this exhibit. And they all look the same. There's like 5 pictures. They all look the same. And I have done this one too many times the wrong way where I didn't get clarification. And then afterwards I'm like, which exhibit is this? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And then
Right.
now you have an unclear record. So I have learned, give me 5 seconds and I will make sure this is clear. And so the other day I had this attorney that was super disorganized and throwing papers around. And I said, hold on, please. And I marked it and gave it to the witness. And at the end, when there are 4 copies of everything flying around, mine had the sticker on them. And I said, okay, I will take these. And I said, hold on, let me make sure I have them all.
Yeah.
Sure enough, there were 6 or 7 that I'm hip, that he had put in his briefcase, and I made them take 10 minutes for me to make sure I had everything. And they thanked me. They said, thank you so much, because the last time this happened, the reporter didn't get all the exhibits, and so she just didn't put them on there, and we didn't have our record. And I was like, oh, no, you're going to get a good record, but you're going to have to be patient just for a minute. And it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And it's not going to take that long. So just hold your horses.
Yeah. I mean, even on that too, I had on a deposition, it was probably the most I've had to interrupt. And it was a very hard deposition. And I kind of felt bad. I was like, okay, maybe I should have been a little bit more sensitive with how I was interrupting. Like I was like, okay. But at the end, the deponent was like, I really appreciate everybody being here today and, taking the time to help us do this professionally. And I was like, I'm happy this got recognized, and he didn't take it as I was trying to be harsh, and he appreciates what we were doing here and making a good record.
Well, and I don't know about you, but the one time that I just thought I lost my cool, like I was the inside out guy with the flames coming out my head because I had been holding it in, and finally I was like, counsel, and I thought I blew my top. I went back and listened to it. It was the sissiest thing. I was like, excuse me, can I? And I'm like, I'm not being a jerk. I think I'm being a jerk in my head, and I'm not at all. I mean, maybe not everybody's like that, but
no, I'm the same way. Or I'll call them and I don't know. And they were upset, and they, and I'm like, and they're like, no, you're fine, it's okay. But it's so hard. Like I'm very, very self-critical. And I worry, and I put a lot of pressure on myself in this job and the standards that we have in the role.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's natural to worry, and I'm growing from it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all growth, and it's so much fun to see where this career takes you. And speaking of that, do you see yourself being freelance for forever, or going into captioning, or going into court full time? What do you think? I mean, it's very early, and you can totally change your mind, but
I'm really enjoying freelance because I like the control factor. I like being in control. The times that I have pro tem'd in court, I felt like there's factors that are out of my control.
Yep.
And with how stressed I am over making the record and ensuring I do my job, I like feeling like I'm in control of those factors. Also, I've always, been very entrepreneurial, and I like the aspect of running my own business, doing the numbers, being my own boss, not having, a manager and they're texting you and, you need to respond and call back and you need to do this and this. I kind of like being able to say, hey, I did 4 days this week. Can we maybe do 3 next week? And at the end of the day, it's a decision for my business and my role.
I love that. Ooh, you're a girl after my own heart. What do you think this career has taught you so far? And this includes your student journey.
I think you just have to be open for feedback. And that was, I growing up, and you can ask my mom, I'm very defensive. I
relate to that as well.
Yeah, it's my way. Okay? I'm type A. It's my way. You have to be able to accept feedback on the spot. After you get that errata sheet, you look back, you check, was it, did I not go Google the spelling, or was it something they wanted to change, or the proofreader saying, hey, I would maybe recommend you consistently capitalize this, or I sat, in my internships with reporters and like, not doing this right, you're not formatting this right. There's constantly feedback you have to take. Like even on the record, I feel like the attorneys have brought up and said, I want to make sure that this happened. Like you're kind of always getting feedback, and you have to take it. And it's, you choose what you want to use and what you don't want to use, and you verify what you want to verify and go from there.
And that's when it's fun to be the boss. But it is great to still keep that humility because, especially as a new reporter, unfortunately, I've come across a few that think they have it all figured out. Like, oh, I got my license, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, you have so much to learn. And it's not a slanted anything against you, but it's just there's no way school can teach you everything. And this goes for all careers, I think.
100%.
I mean, attorneys tell me the same thing. Like, they learned a ton of laws and rules and everything, but how to take a depo, like they don't really teach that. Or doctors. I mean, you have to be hands-on and learning, and that's where the internship comes in handy, right?
Yes. And, and the first time I was like, I submitted the transcript and I got the feedback and I was like, did I really mess up that many times on that? And then I got better and better and better. And I learned how to make that cover page from scratch, how to make my own block files, what I wanted to fill in. And, and I know there's a lot of new reporters that are scoping and proofing their own work. And it's like, you need to at least you have to get a proofreader, like non-negotiable.
Thank you.
Because I was scoping and proofing my own work when I was in Washington for a time. And I would go back and, you read, it looks different when it's printed out in that PDF than it is in your file. And I'm like, I spelled the attorney's name wrong in the transcript. And, so I have a proofreader. I'm her full-time reporter. I can send her anything.
Wow.
It comes back. I built this relationship with her before I got my CSR. I was sending her small jobs I was doing in Washington. So that first California job, I said, here we go. Let's get started. We're about to be really busy. And she catches, I had on that job yesterday, I was proofreading so many words like that I didn't even know existed. I'm trying to remember. It was like, there was something and I was like, it was missing like an ALTY or something. And it's like, I wouldn't have figured that out without somebody.
Well, I remember when I started, I did a lot of work comp to begin, and there are a lot of acronyms.
Yes.
And it's such a niche community. And so they were saying IME, Independent Medical Examiner. But you know how M's and N's are? So I wrote I&E the whole way through. And I would have looked like such a fool. Yeah. And luckily my proofreader was super experienced and was like, oh, it's I&E. I mean, it's IME. And so she corrected me, and I was so grateful. But, no matter how many times I looked at that, I would have never realized that. And tell me something. You've sat through it once. You've scoped it. You've read through it. You've proofed it. Do you think on that third or fourth time you're fine-tooth combing it?
No.
No. You're so bored, you're skimming. Right?
Yeah.
Or at least that's how I am.
Yeah.
Some people can do it, but...
Or your brain fills it in, like the use, like the did use. My brain filled in the
because you know what it was supposed to be. You remember hearing it the first time, right?
Yeah. So
fresh set of eyes every time.
Every time. I have to. It has to go to the proofreader. I make it happen, and that's another part of the time management.
Yes, it is.
I've had some big jobs. I just gave her a 300-page job, and I was like, I probably should have given her an extra day. And I was coming down to the final wire. It was due 9 a.m. I woke up at 5 to proof it. I normally wake up in the mornings before my jobs and I proof. Gets my brain kind of going. And I was like, okay, lesson learned. I need to scope it a day earlier, get it to my proofer a day earlier. But she's a trooper, and I communicate with her, but I need to give her, depending on the length of the job, 2 days before it's due is like the biggest push I will do. I try to give her 3. If I can give her 4, that's amazing. Yeah. But just really making sure, giving that time, because it needs to be proofed with quality time.
Yep, that's right. And I used to have a checklist. I don't do it so much anymore, but I have a checklist where I have a due date, the drop dead due date, and then I back that out about 3 days, right? And then, but what I used to not do is put the page count. Yeah. So I would say, oh, I have 6 days to do it, whatever. But I forgot it was 300 pages. Yep. And I'm like, oh, crud, I have to start that way earlier. So yeah, finding those little systems that work for your time management. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you were almost done with your bachelor's.
I finished it.
You did, girl. So let me ask you, did you feel like that was a waste? For anybody out there who is pivoting, who's on a second career, who's already gone through some other kind of program and they want to pivot, is it worth it still?
It is worth it.
Yeah.
I would do it. Circumstantially, it worked for me. I started, I was on a totally different path. I was going to be an Army officer.
Whoa.
I was in Army ROTC in undergrad. I was up in Oregon, and ultimately I had medical issues and I couldn't complete. So I came
Oh.
home, reset, ended up in a bachelor's degree program at Sacramento State designed for people working full time. It was like a pilot program. And when I found court reporting school, thankfully, I was like, my senior year, I want to do the easiest classes. And it was my senior year. So my final semester of my bachelor's was when I started school, and I had like musical theater class and art class and, all the easy ones. So I was able to manage it because at that point I only had maybe a dozen credits left. I wasn't going to stop at that point because I knew I wasn't going to go back.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But it's, if I didn't do court reporting, I really don't know where I would be right now.
I don't either. I lucked out because I figured it out, or I found the career before I had gotten too deep into something. But I still think it would be so worth it if that's truly what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
To pivot, or it being a second career, or it taking a little longer than other people. Like I think there are a lot of students out there that they're on their 4th, 5th, 6th year, and they're thinking that I, as an agency owner, am going to look at that and look down on that.
No.
I'm amazed you stuck it out. Like I am props to you for that. And so that doesn't matter. If you get to the finish line, I don't care how long it took you. I don't care how many times you took that test. So kudos to you. Like just realizing and identifying what you needed, where you needed to pivot to, because it's so worth it. I love this.
So worth it.
Right? Isn't it so fun? Yes. And you're one of the few machine writers coming out right now. I know that we've been talking a lot about voice, and it's been a great add to our industry. But it is cool to hear from a student or a new reporter that actually did the machine. So
Yes.
I'm very excited.
Thank you.
And I understand you said block files. So are you on Eclipse?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to talk.
Yes,
we should
yes.
share our tips and tricks. Oh, I did want to comment real quick. You were plugging yourself into conventions and seminars, right? I met you at a seminar that I was presenting at, and it's so cool because it's been about a year.
Yeah.
And I'm presenting again tomorrow. But yeah, it just exposing yourself to all of these things, right? I never did that. I was just student. I started working. I didn't even plug in until years after I started working, and I really missed out on a lot of these connections that you're making and these little nuggets of information you're probably picking up along the way.
It's seriously saving me. The people that I met at my first convention for California are people that I call every day after a bad job. And I'm like, I'm the worst. And they're like, no, you're going to have bad days. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I would seriously tell, all students, no matter what speed you're at, get involved. CCRA, the California Court Reporters Association, has a lot of student stuff going on right now.
I've seen that.
I'm going to be doing a class to help teach about the skills exam. And, there's a lot of stuff that CCRA is doing to help students in attending convention, applying for sponsorship, and getting involved. With all my interning, I got sponsored by Sacramento County to go to convention.
Oh, wow.
And
that's huge because they're not cheap. When you're a student,
they're not, connect with students and get roommates. And I had a room with 4 girls. We split it and saved money, but just making those connections, those classes, every class I took something away. My dictionary's better. I have more networking. I learned something. Just don't be afraid. Get involved. We have so many associations. We have DRA, CCRA, NCRA, NVRA. Explore, date the different associations. See which ones are calling your name to maybe attend to something in person on Zoom, and really get a feel for where you want to go in person. Invest some money into, develop yourself. Yeah, it pays off. All the in-person interning I did in conferences, I don't think I'd be where I am on week 7 or 8 without it.
Oh yeah. And how many of the jobs that you're getting are from some connection you made along the way? I mean,
every single one.
Right? Because you could just cold call someone, and because there's a need for reporters, you're probably going to be fine and you'll get work. But really, it sounds like you hit the ground running and you've been able to stay busy and probably doing very well for yourself. So yeah. But all those dollars invested, definitely, they are paying off.
They're paying off, and being involved and making those connections, it's really paying off long term with being able to produce these transcripts. Because I do have a lot of hiccups and little things where I just want to make sure I have that technical failure of transmission, court reporter clarification. Like I wanted really good, clear communication of what happened and what do you think? How does this look? Hey, do you mind looking over? I have a 10-page court transcript. Just make sure it looks good. So it's helping me insanely a bunch as a new reporter.
Well, I'm noticing a thread through this whole thing: communication.
Yes.
You've mentioned about communicating with, I forget the first instance you talked about. It was either with clients or communicating on the job too with witnesses. And like, I like to be chatty and bring a little sunshine to a negative room, but then you can also be too chatty.
Yes.
And so figuring out what's the balance there, right? But then also communicating like, if you're running up against a deadline, could I turn it in tomorrow morning? I need an extra day. But do you just ghost the agency?
Nope.
No.
Even I was
Thank you.
yesterday morning, hey, I'll have the job at 8 a.m. and it's 7:55. And I'm like, okay, I'm finalizing it now. It'll be in really soon. And then by 8:15 it's in. And they're like, thanks for letting us know. Or I'm overly cautious. And I like to make sure I'm either not, going and being too chatty or possibly appearing one way or the other. Or, I'm very over communicative and I want to, with calendar, I'm like, hey, this notice, is it an arbitration? Is it a deposition? Just really making sure I have an understanding of what's going on from all aspects.
Yeah. Well, that's huge. And I try to emphasize that to anybody I talk to, any student or new reporter, but communication is so huge. It's some learning, but when in doubt, communicate, right?
Yes.
If you're
100%.
running late to the job,
yes,
you're going to be cutting it close. You just don't want the attorneys worrying like, okay, I'm going to be there, but I'm only going to be 10 minutes early instead of my normal 30 or whatever. Like, just don't worry. I'm on my way. I've got you.
Or even just communicating in the sense of like just venting. Like, you could be talking about like I had, something spoken in another language and I'm out here trying to get the spelling of it. And someone's like, Natalie, you're not reporting in that language. And I'm like, wow, I could have saved some time on that one, huh?
But with a blurb that says spoken in Korean.
Yeah, and I'm like, but if I didn't communicate and say, oh, that was so annoying, and they're like, well, you did no. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to do that again. So it worked out.
And that's the only way you learn, right?
It's the only way you learn.
But asking the questions and not feeling ashamed that there's a dumb question or that,
Yeah.
So important. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know our audience is going to get a lot of good out of this. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming. And if you are not liked and subscribed to our podcast already, please do so. And we hope to see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining us. Bye.